All right, so hi, Hernando. If you could just really briefly give an overview of your organization and the role that you play within that organization, with kind of an explanation maybe of the diversity and inclusion work that you do.
Certainly. So IES Abroad is a nonprofit organization, and that's something that I always highlight, right? That we are nonprofit, that everything goes back into our students, i.e. scholarships, and I think that's something that I'm incredibly proud of, to be at an organization that invests in itself, aka invests in the students, right? So in terms of diversity and inclusion, for us, everything starts in 2008, and while we have been engaging with HBCUs and HSIs throughout pretty much our entire history, I think it was in 2008 when we really became leaders in the field through the think tank that we hosted with folks from the Oprah Foundation, with Andrew Gordon from Diversity Abroad, really with the leaders in society and in our field, to really try to find out what are we doing to get underrepresented students abroad. And that was in 2008, and I'm happy to send you information. That's all on our website, but the monograph that comes out of that, I think, is really the first document of its kind in our field, and that really has driven the last 10 years of our work. This year we are actually celebrating 10,000 students of color. So after launching IDEA in 2008, in 2018, 10 years later, we're celebrating that. And that's something that we're obviously very proud of. To get into what I actually do, and under IDEA, I actually launched an initiative called Tu Mundo. Tu Mundo is an initiative that is designed to engage HSIs, Hispanic serving institutions, and emerging Hispanic serving institutions. And this all starts why? Because of all Latinos studying abroad, only 7% are coming from HSIs. So that's incredibly problematic when these are the institutions that enroll 25%, right? And it's not all about numbers, because that's diversity, but inclusion is what we really focus on, right? But if we can't even get them there, then our diversity, it's not reflecting what society looks like, right?
Absolutely.
With a large number of Latinx individuals in our country, in this country. So what is Tu Mundo? It's an interactive workshop that I actually launched at Whittier with Andrew Wallace, who has been really an incredible individual. And at Whittier, we launched this, and we, were able to kind of get a sense of what were students going to really get out of this. And this workshop included 5 components, right? The first component being a discussion on IES Abroad scholarships, but more importantly, external scholarships. Number 2, we talked about the intersectionality of identities in the formative space of study abroad. So those are kind of like discussion, the back and forth, the Q&As, and I really put those conversations on the students. I want to hear from them, right?
Sure.
And I'm certainly there to guide them through those conversations, but I want to hear from them. Because they're not thinking about how their identity is going to play out abroad. They're thinking about, how am I going to pay for this course? How am I going to travel on the weekends? The logistics, right? So, and then the really, what I have found in the, since I launched Tu Mundo, and the last 3 components of this interactive workshop have been what the students really find helpful, and what they have said, this is exactly what I needed to get out of it, and that is a scholarship writing workshop where we do a Gilman case study. And so that Gilman case study, we actually go through doing an outline for, how to write a winning essay. And I actually get to show, parts of winning essays that colleagues and friends have shared with me, that, winners of Gilman that I now am able to use for my students. And on that note, by the way, this past year, since I have launched Tu Mundo, and this hasn't only been me, but I certainly do think I have played a role in this, that our Gilman support grant has actually increased by $30,000, and there are 30 new recipients. And some of the winners of these are from schools that I've been to, that I visited, and that we have done Gilman scholarship writing workshops. So in less than a year, we've already seen this massive jump. $30,000, 30 new recipients of this Gilman support grant.
Oh, that's amazing.
And to get back to these last 2 points of the interactive workshop, we do a resume template, where I've created this resume template, and I actually use the resume that I use when I apply to IES Abroad, because it shows how you can integrate study abroad into your resume. It shows how you can literally add an entire new section that says international educational experience wherever you studied abroad. So they also find that, very powerful. And lastly, we go into talking about service learning, volunteer, and internship opportunities, which is what I presented on yesterday. And I feel like it was very well received.
Yeah.
And we focus on this because we have found at IES, and really the field in general, that students of color are attracted to service learning, are attracted to internships. They want to go beyond that study abroad. They want to be able to acquire those skills that you're able to get through research and service learning, through actual day-to-day operations in an internship. So really that's my role when it comes to what I've been doing, and Tu Mundo's my baby, and I'm very proud. Again, Whittier was my first supporter, and now it's, I've engaged with institutions like University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and part of Tu Mundo, we will, from that engagement comes out a faculty-led program that will be going to Tokyo this summer. So, it all started at Whittier, and it's just kind of expanded from there to California, to Texas, and it's something that I'm very proud of, and that I continue to work on. But I think it's something that has definitely made an impact, as you can see through the Gilman, through getting students from the community of Rio Grande Valley, very close to the border, a community that is under attack, and getting some of those students to go see what's out there. And I think I'm so happy for them, and I know that this is going to be life-changing for students like that.
Absolutely.
And, when it comes to inclusion, I guess, and that's part of it, right? I mean, I think, no, forgive me, let me backtrack. I guess the diversity is getting those students abroad, right? The inclusion is ensuring that these diverse cohorts, that the intra-cohort diversity provides everyone safe spaces, provides everyone an opportunity to have a voice. And that also means Caucasian students. That also means conservative students. That also means everyone.
It means everyone.
Right? So
yeah.
I want everyone to have a voice. Now, there is a very fine line between espousing your views and offending others.
Right.
And I think in the field, that's where we're all trying to get better at it, right? In the inclusion aspect, and there's no specific formula. There's, but in terms of what we try to do, we do workshops, and that's something I think that advisors have found very helpful, and that is something that I certainly hope that the field as a whole starts doing to our staff on site, right? Because it's one thing for us to be doing it here in the United States, but who's the one that's actually, working with our students once they're on site?
Right.
So I think in the field as a whole, and I'm certainly seeing kind of a push for us to really look at our sites, look abroad, and let's ensure that our staff and our students are understanding what intra-cohort diversity looks like, and that the next step we need to reach is inclusion, a space of liberation, a space of revolution where everyone can have a voice and everyone can really get something out of the study abroad experience, because there is beauty in difference.
Yeah.
There is beauty in difference, and I think and we might not always agree, and we might not always like each other, but we got to respect each other because we're all one in this world, and I think that's what inclusion comes down to.
Exactly, and I think that goes back to exactly what Andrew was saying at the reception, the idea of being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and exactly what you were saying, learning from one another. We might not always agree, but how can we engage with one another without offending, but still leaving that room for acceptance?
Yeah. And one thing that I do want to mention is, we are living in a very politicized country right now, but so are other countries.
Yeah.
So is France, so is Vienna, so is Brazil, so is Colombia, so it's like these worlds are clashing, and when our students are leaving with all this baggage of politics and this last election, and then they're not leaving that behind, they're taking that with them. But then they're dealing with on-site and in-country, issues that are ongoing as well. So it's these two worlds clashing, and that's why I gotta say we're never gonna have a perfect formula. But I certainly feel that we need to have these discussions. We need to have these difficult discussions. Why has there been a rise in why is Europe characterized as xenophobic right now? Quite frankly, right? We need to talk about that. And I think, and there's some people in the field that feel that some of those thorny issues should stay out of the classroom. But I'm a strong believer that the space of education is the space where these conversations need to be had.
Absolutely. So based on what you shared, I'm wondering, when you're going about these partnerships, this will probably be the last question, we don't have that much time, but when you're going about creating these partnerships, working with other institutions, how do you present diversity and inclusion initiatives in the education abroad field as something that is relevant, important? How do you go about creating that buy-in?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's very simple for me. I say our cohorts abroad need to reflect the country we live in, right? I think the institutions that that our students are studying at, right? Because right now that's clearly not the case, right?
Yeah.
So really, it's that. It's like, are you interested in ensuring and helping me in my goal and helping all my colleagues in my goal, even from other providers, from other institutions that are even work with us, in ensuring that that cohorts abroad are as diverse as the country that they are coming from. This country is a country of immigrants. Pilgrims are immigrants fleeing religious persecution. And honestly, those are the stories. Those are the first kind of conversations that I have. So I put on them, are you willing to assist me and working with me and collaborating with me and ensuring that study abroad reflects the institutions where our students are coming from and society, United States society, a vibrant mosaic of various cultures, of various languages, of various skin colors, of various ethnicities, of various religious denominations. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I don't always succeed.
Sure.
But really, that's kind of how I frame it.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any?
Yeah. If you have another.
Okay.
I have like 10 more minutes.
Okay. Okay, so this one's a little less context specific. This is because when me and my colleagues go back to Middlebury in Monterey, we're going to be kind of presenting conference insider tips, best practices. I'm wondering if you have any advice for people who are kind of just making their way into this field in terms of attending professional conferences, how to get the most out of them, what to do or look for.
Yeah, so I would say, and this sounds so boring, but obviously the networking is so incredibly important. So doing this, you have to, hunt people down. Exactly. These are the most incredible, just like you hunted me down, right? And but the real big one, I think, is find yourself a mentor. Find yourself the David Wicks. Find yourself the Andrew Gordons, because everyone in this field is willing. We're just a big family.
Yeah.
I don't like the word competition when it comes to providers, for example, because we're working for the students at the end of the day. You know what I mean? For me, it's been mentorship. It's been, and some of these people don't even know it, that they've been mentoring me because of, through those conversations, through their encouragement to, hey, it doesn't matter that you've only been in the field for 3 months. Apply for a conference. And I got accepted to an EXA Region 5, 3 months in the field. So really being ambitious too, mentorship, being ambitious. This field has so many incredible opportunities, whether it's through this wonderful organization that Diversity Abroad is, like a task force, whether it is collaboration through webinars, whether through institutions or institution and partnerships with providers, public-private partnerships. All that stuff is, we have the ability to have these conversations and make concrete steps, right? So I would say, obviously the networking is, the most obvious one. Track people down. But the two that I would like you guys to take away is, find a mentor, and those are easy to find because we like to talk. We in this field, we love to talk, and then the last one being, be ambitious. There's so many opportunities. There's always conferences. There's always task forces. There are always subcommittees.
Right.
And take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, so just, I guess, being intentional about the goals that you set and then pursuing those steps.
Exactly.